collaboration with the Cyprus Mail. This is the Cyprus News Digest with Rosie Charalambous.
Coming up this week, the Cyprus Rally, 8th round of the European Rally Championship, gets underway tonight at the picturesque Finikoudis seafront in Larnaca.
We decided that we would like to have a fast rally, therefore we moved eastern, where it's flatter and faster stages. And I think we achieved that because the first comments we received are very good.
We'll talk to the team manager of Kajetanovic, the Polish driver who's currently heading the European Rally Championship standings.
He will try to find a fine line to go fast, but at the same time be smart about it.
And International Day of Peace was marked earlier this week in the UN buffer zone in Nicosia.
This year's remembrance is especially affecting. Truly heartbreaking, given the turmoil in this region, particularly in Syria, from where we have seen a human tide of suffering washing ashore in Greece, Turkey, and even Cyprus.
The Cyprus Rally, round 8 of the European Rally Championship, starts tonight from Larnaca seafront. The rally also counts towards the Middle East Rally Championship and the local Cyprus Championship, so fans are expecting some exciting action this weekend. The clerk of the course is Naya Kontopoulou, and I spoke to her on Wednesday, soon after the crews had wrecked the downtown super special stage, bringing gridlock to the roads in Nicosia. The route's a bit different this year. In fact, you've tried to do a lot of different things. Just tell us about how it's all going.
Regarding the route, we decided that we would like to have a fast rally. Therefore, we moved eastern.
Where it's flatter.
Where it's flatter and faster stages. And I think we achieved that because the first comments we received are very good. After all the crews wrecking the stages, I think they like them and they are really fast stages.
Does that not, though, in a sense, lose the historical typicality of the Cyprus Rally? Because we were always known to be a very twisty, very hard rally.
Yes, but we have to improve and we have to follow the trends and we have to change, and if they don't like it, we'll go back. We have to change and try something new. Let's take it that way, that we make an experiment to see whether these changes, the drivers like them.
But it's not just the drivers. The FIA and the observers have to know what's going on and have to approve what's going on.
They know, and it's with their approval that we made these changes, and hoping that everybody will like it. As you said previously, the Cyprus Rally was known as a very hard and a very tough rally.
A technical rally, actually, the drivers used to call it.
Maybe nowadays the drivers prefer something more fast. So we give it a try, and we'll see for next year.
And for the first time, you've moved to Larnaca, to the picturesque Finikoudis seafront.
After 44 years, we moved to Larnaca. It's the only town that we never been there, and I think Larnaca welcomed us open-heartedly. I mean, they are so helpful. They want us there, and they want us to stay there. So it was worth going to the eastern part of the island, working with these people, and after all, Larnaca deserved the same treatment as all other cities of Cyprus. It's a Cyprus rally. We had to go to Larnaca, we had to move eastern. We couldn't leave a part of the island outside the Cyprus rally.
And of course, again, we're including some of the areas in the northern part of Cyprus on the super special stage.
Yes.
Now, I know this is a bone of contention. I've already seen, and I was trying to drive in town this afternoon during the recce of the super special. It was gridlocked again. I know that you and the police are doing the best that you can, but there are still a lot of negative comments on Facebook about why have they got to bring the rally into the centre of town. What's your answer to that?
People have to get used to this. In other European cities, when either Formula One or WRC events or ERC events are going in the city, they have this town super special, the city super special stage. So we have to adjust. The rally brings in so many guests in the island, and everybody knows Cyprus through the Cyprus Rally, through Eurosport. So we have to adjust and we have to be patient. It's only for 2 days, the recce day and the actual race day. So
and the actual race day will, of course, be Saturday afternoon. How far before the stage will those roads be closed?
Look, on Saturday we will close the stage, the roads. It's not like today when the roads were opened and the police were facilitating people to move. We'll close everything. By 3 o'clock everything will be closed. All the roads will be closed by 3 o'clock.
And they'll open again, what, about 7:38?
No, around 8 o'clock, because we have to clean up and remove the chicanes and everything. So again, we plead for people to be patient. It's for the good of all of us. I mean, Cyprus is so famous through the Cyprus Rally, and especially this super special stage. We were praised by the Secretary General of the United Nations, so it's worth going there. It's worth doing it, and we are so famous for this. It's worth receiving 1 day of trouble. Everybody has to, a little part in all this effort. It's for the country, it's for us, it's for Cyprus, and we need it.
And how many spectators do you think gather, particularly on the super special stage?
Last year we had 65,000. We are waiting this amount of people and so many spectators. Actually, especially this year when it's a Saturday afternoon, we're expecting more on both sides. I think it's a successful stage, so we cannot keep it out.
And that is Naya Kondopoulou, who is the clerk of the course of the Cyprus Rally 2015. Kicks off tonight in Larnaca, runs through until Sunday.
Keep up to date with events in Cyprus and around the world with the Cyprus News Digest.
Wojtek Paterek is the team manager for the Lotos Rally Team, and their driver is leading currently the European Rally Championship. He's hoping to extend that lead because his closest rival, Craig Breen, hasn't come to Cyprus. I wonder what that means. Wojtek, what actually are you hoping to achieve in Cyprus?
Well, we definitely are going to be trying to do our best, and I speak for the driver, because we came all the way from Poland. We've been here last year, and we really enjoyed the atmosphere, and then all the fans, and the organizer did a really good job. And then overall, it was a good fight. And even though I think when Craig Breen may not be here, there's still some rivals, so some competitors that are very fast. For instance, Alexei Lukanyuk. Well, we can't, not to mention his name, because he is actually, when it comes to speed and gravel, he's a fast driver. Also Konsaini, and then many others. So I'm sure that when Kaito will be on the stages, he will do his best to go as fast as he can. Nevertheless, he will have in back of his mind that even though he's first leading he knows that he's got the drivers that will also want it to be the fastest.
But if you look at the championship, in actual fact, although I know when you get behind the wheel of a rally car, you really want to win, he might be better actually driving a steady rally and waiting to see what the toll is on the Cyprus roads. This is faster and less rough than usual for Cyprus, but there are usually casualties in terms of people who drop by the wayside. So will he attack from the start, do you think, or will he see that a few points here that extends his lead might be more valuable than going for a win and not finishing at all?
Well, overall, I would have to come back and have to say, we at the beginning of the season, we said we have a budget for eight rallies, and this is our 7th rally. So after this rally, we have one more to go, and maybe if it's going to be Greece or Switzerland, we'll see. But Craig Breen is going the following 2, and we will do only 1 at the moment. So having that in mind, yes, we want to go steady, but at the same time, you also want to score as many points as you can to maybe to extend the lead. But it's the rally, so it doesn't matter how fast you go. the key point is to finish it and to be on the finish line. So definitely he will try to find the fine line to go fast, but at the same time be smart about it.
That, of course, is the essence of successful rallying. We wish you the very best of luck when it all kicks off.
Thank you very much.
In collaboration with the Cyprus Mail, this is the Cyprus News Digest with Rosie Charalambous.
The biggest achievement of Crime Stoppers has been the ability of the public to be able to give information about crime anonymously.
There's no way I could have kept prostituting without the drugs. There's no way I could have had my body used like a public toilet, because that's actually what prostitution is.
And then the fourth series I started 3 days after I'd won the Oscar, so the whole of the Monarch of the Glen experience was all interplatted with the Gosford Park Oscar experience.
I was working with Ronnie James Dio, and David was going to reform Whitesnake in 2003.
Cyprus was chosen because Cyprus is a stable, peaceful and secure place.
We have to really look closely. What are we doing with children? What are we doing with adolescents? And what are we doing with adults that can help them move into a more literate situation?
The ones that I'm proudest of are the ones that were true discoveries, where we found something we didn't know existed.
And other stories making the news this week in Cyprus. Former Defence Minister Kostas Papakostas, who died earlier this week, was buried on Wednesday. His family have vowed to pursue all legal avenues to hold accountable those they see as responsible for his death, because it was on his watch that the 2011 Mari explosion occurred, and in July 2013 he was found guilty of manslaughter. Sentenced to 5 years in jail because of his ailing health, he was transferred immediately to hospital, and he had been in hospital ever since. But there are medical reports suggesting that his confinement for so long to a hospital room contributed to his worsening health. A research team at the University of Cyprus, working in collaboration with researchers from the Boston University School of Medicine, have discovered a gene that offers hope for the development of more effective drugs to prevent and cure breast cancer metastases. And the people of Cyprus are mobilizing to help Syrian refugees. The group that started just a couple of weeks ago collecting items for transportation to Greece, where the problem is extremely serious, say they're receiving calls every day from people who are now offering to help.
Listen online to the Cyprus News Digest on YouTube or at cyprusmail.libsyn.com. The latest program is uploaded every Friday, and if you missed one, you can catch up there.
September 21st is the United Nations International Day of Peace. It was marked in Cyprus this year by a candle lighting ceremony at the Lydra Palace in the buffer zone in Nicosia.
Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you all for joining us here today at Lydra Palace for our candle lighting ceremony to mark the United Nations International Day of Peace. It is an honor to have with us today members of the Cyprus Veterans World War II Association. This ceremony is held every year and is a special occasion to honor their service and to reflect on the contributions of all servicemen and women who give so much in the pursuit of peace. The International Day of Peace was created as a day of non-violence, a day for a ceasefire. It is also therefore an occasion for us to stand together, to renew our shared resolve, to continue the work to bring peace to all peoples. We're very honored to be joined today by the Emphasis Force Commander, Major General Kirsten Lund, to open the ceremony.
Distinguished guests, members of the World War II Veterans Association, colleagues and friends. Welcome to this year's celebration of the International Day of Peace. I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to speak to you on this occasion. As the former head of Veteran Affairs in Norway, Armed Forces, I have taken great honor and pleasure in contributing to the important work of acknowledging veterans of all ages. My last meeting with veterans from World War II was during the 70 years anniversary of the landing in Normandy last May, and that left an overwhelming and unforgettable impression on me. Please join me in saluting the members of the Cyprus World War II Veterans Association. I'm honored with your presence here this afternoon. I'm inspired by your service and reminded of the sacrifices your generation made to pave the way for the creation of the United Nations, with a promise to save succeeding generations from the source of war. Greek and Turkish Cypriot, you fought side by side to win peace for us all. You exemplify how together Cypriots can unite for a greater good. I'm also delighted to welcome the generation of the future young representatives from both communities and hear their inspiring message. They offer us tremendous hope for building a peaceful future of coexistence on this beautiful island. We owe it to them to redouble our efforts to forge a peaceful future for all Cypriots. Today, on September 21st, it's an opportunity to again state our belief in non-violence, to call for a global ceasefire and remember those who continue to live in fear. Let us send them a message of hope that they are not alone. And today, as in years gone by, we will mark the occasion with a minute of silence to honor those killed in conflict and those that continue to live in the absence of peace. This year's remembrance is especially affecting, truly heartbreaking, given the turmoil in this region, particularly in Syria, from where we have seen a human tide of suffering washing ashore in Greece, Turkey, and even Cyprus. Let us pay tribute to those who have lost their lives and offer a beacon of hope to the survivors who continue to endure so much suffering. Friends, 40 years ago, the buffer zone where we are gathered today became a part of this island's life. It was never intended to become a lasting barrier between the two communities, nor was it meant to discourage Cypriot from the need of the dialogue and the contact in the search for a lasting and comprehensive settlement. For the United Nations family here in Cyprus, supporting a comprehensive settlement remains our highest priority. We are heartened by the progress both leaders are currently making. This is a window of opportunity towards lasting peace. We remain committed to assisting the two sides in achieving the aspiration of both leaders to reach their shared goal of a united federal Cyprus for all. Let us strengthen our commitment to the reunification of this beautiful country. Let us take inspiration from the word of the young generation. Let us learn from the wisdom of the Second World War veterans, and let our presence here this afternoon serve as a dedication to the cause of peace. The candle beside me symbols the worldwide vigil held by millions of people to mark the International Day of Peace. Thank you.
I would now like to invite the General Secretary of the Cyprus Veterans Association, Mr. Nikos Christoulidis, to speak on behalf of his fellow veterans.
Distinguished guests, dear colleagues, it is my great honor and privilege to address once more this wonderful meeting organized by the United Nations in order to celebrate the International Day of Peace. It's a constant remembrance of the need to respect and protect peace for all the people of the world. We, the Cypriot veterans, both Greek Cypriots and Turkish Cypriots, are very proud that we joined the millions of people who fought on the Allied side in order to safeguard world peace and prosperity for future generations. We will never stop defending peace and justice and do our share in order to endorse world peace and prosperity. Thank you.
I'd now like to hand the beacon to the younger generation of Cypriots to hear from them, their words of peace. Could I welcome to the podium Ms. Eleni Parteki and Ishmael Ozjanik.
I am grateful that I'm standing here today, able to express my gratitude to the UN Peacekeeping Force, all the veterans here with us today, as well as all the people out there in the world working for peace daily. I do not consider peace just something that we as humans want, but as something we need and deserve. When I say act like a human, I expect human-like acts, like to love, to show compassion, to care, and to be kind. Now, if we all acted, or maybe should I say function, as to be humans, the form we were brought here as, then there would be peace. We just so often see humans step right out of their zone, being inhumane, and right there is where you just lose this greatness you had in just seconds. And I think we can all agree on that, especially lately, and I think the media managed to make us more aware of all this destruction. Today's a very special day as we celebrate Peace Day. Peace does depend on the youth now more than ever here in Cyprus. And I myself feel that I need to keep working for a peaceful future. I feel that it is my duty to do my part and try the best that I can to promote peace and finally provide peace. But for this moment, all I hope is that every human will be a human for the rest of the days that have yet to come. Thank you.
I am very glad that many more people from both communities interact as the time passes. I become more hopeful for the peace in our island. As teens, I always know that we have a big role in this progress, and we will work for it until the day that we will celebrate the peace all together. There are still conflicts happening in the world, people suffer and even die, which is really upsetting. Today the world needs a stable peace, and I am hopeful one day Cyprus will become an example to the world and encourage people in the world to find peace. Thank you.
The candles were then lit and a minute's silence observed by all those present. That ended when a lone piper started playing. An event held in the buffer zone of Nicosia at the Lydra Palace Hotel earlier this week to mark the United Nations International Day of Peace. After the ceremony, I spoke to the General Secretary of the Cyprus Veterans World War II Association, 92-year-old Nikos Christodoulidis, and I asked him what it meant to him to be at the event to mark the International Day of Peace.
Well, Peace Day, United Nations are celebrating this day because they want to tell the world to stop ceasefire at least for one day. And it's a very, very big day. But unfortunately, no one keeps it.
How do you feel as a veteran when you fought in the Second World War and people said never again in our time and so on, and you look around the world today and there are conflicts, particularly close to Cyprus, but all over the world? How do you feel?
Well, I feel desperate. I just wonder, why do we live in this kind of world? What they promised to us, they said, this is the last war. But after that, 10 years ago, somebody counted 56 wars. There is no place where there is no conflict. Why? For what reason? In Encatene, some people fight against the government, and some government people fight against those people. What happens? It's like a lunatic asylum.
The General Secretary of the Cyprus Veterans World War II Association, Nikos Christodoulidis. Well, that about wraps up this edition of the Cyprus News Digest. Many thanks for your company. Hope you'll join me next week. Till we meet again, take care and God bless. Bye-bye now.